I'm Tyler Egan here with TooeleTV, and I'm here with Jean Mogus at the Tooele Railroad Museum. So do you remember when this was a station?
Yes, I do. And I remember coming here at Christmas time to pick up parcels, a lot of times to mail parcels out of here. This was a railroad express depot as well. We got cars here, lumber, anything the merchants needed.
When was the station first open here?
1908. They opened this station, I think it was, and they built the railroad, and it started down by the Union Pacific, Western Pacific, went through the middle of Tooele on Vine Street, and that divided the towns north and south.
So what kinds of things do you like to tell people when they come to visit here? What's your favorite thing to talk about?
Well, how this all got established. We had the people come from Europe. They didn't. Brigham Young didn't want his people up here. He wanted them to live off the land, so they brought 3,000 people here from Europe. And they built their houses between 1st Street and 6th Street, Vine Street and Utah Avenue, and this was known as Newtown. And Broadway was the main street. We had a lot of stores here, grocery stores, clothing stores, but a lot of bars as well. And the men were here, they were single, they lived with other people in boarding houses. And there's a building across the street where they used to cook meals for the men. They had a place to sleep, and they'd pack them lunches. Wow. And they'd wash clothes for them.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow. And did you see some of that going on when you were young?
Oh yes, my grandmother had 3 different people living there, plus
really?
5 kids in her home. But they all brought families over, so the families helped one another. And they come out here with the intent of making a lot of money and going back to Europe. Well, the money wasn't all that great. So they worked real hard, and about the time when they were getting a little bit better income, the big depression come and they lost everything. So it made it difficult for them to go back to Europe. Most of them did not. And the men that worked in the smelter, they worked long hours. It was a dirty job. They worked around lead furnaces. They got leaded, and most of the men, not very many, lived beyond 50 years old.
Oh, wow.
A lot of them got lead poisoning, and wow. A lot of widows.
Last time we were here, you talked about some of these pictures that are around us, behind us, and to the sides of us. Can you tell me a bit about that? I know you know quite a bit there.
We had a trestle that went across the wash, and so the train was still not very steady there, so they filled it in with this pit with gravel from an overburden of a mine, and that structure is still up there by the golf course. And then I showed you the pictures of the coal. They would get those buckets and fill them full of coal, put them in the back of the tender, go a half a block and get water. The men rode the train to and from work for 5 cents a ride.
Wow.
And they never closed the smelter until it was to repair the furnaces. That was the only time that stopped.
Really? And
we had as many as 4 engines. We've had derailments. We've had 1 tip over on Vine Street.
Really?
We had a train that's over there, a photograph of that, in 1937. The train got stuck in a snowdrift going up to the smelter, and that was by the golf course up above there. And the men knew they weren't going to get to work, so they got out and felt their tracks to get home. And the only way to get the train out was for the men to dig it out. So the workers went and dug it out because there's no plows that got them out of there. Marion Bevan, who was a fireman, he would shovel 10 ton of coal in an 8-hour shift, regardless of the weather, hot or cold. And then when that train got stuck, he stayed in there and kept the fire going in the engines, and there were 2 engines. And the water he got from the snow, which takes a lot of snow to get the water from it. And so he had 1 wheelbarrow of coal left when they finally got him out of there.
Wow.
So he was a fireman on there.
What would you say his name was?
Marion Bevan. And he was very, very instrumental in getting this going. We had Claude Atkin, two Wayland brothers, Ernie and Chris Wayland, Bill Edwards, Marion Bevan, and these men had some kind of a site that they could come in here, and they built this, and they got all the artifacts. So we're very grateful to them, and they died working up here after they had started this museum.
Wow.
So it's changed hands.
Yeah. And well, I really think more people should come visit here.
I do too. We've got a lot to offer. We've got all the mining artifacts, the Tooele Carfork mine, which was done by Anaconda. We have the Merker Barrick mine, which was a gold mine. We've got artifacts from that, and a lot from Bauer. There was a mine out at Bauer where our landfill is. And then we have a lot of military memorabilia. Wade Matthews is responsible for that. Okay. And we have the superintendent's house up here from the railroad. And in there we have a lot of medical artifacts. We've got an iron lung up there. We've got pictures of what Tooele Main Street looked like in the 70s. So we have a lot to offer. And of course, the engine is a centerpiece here. Everybody loves the engine, and they like the caboose. And we have a HO scale out in the coaches out there. Wow. And that is run by a club in Salt Lake, and they just come out on Saturdays when they can come. We have Bruce Grimm that has built these little miniature trains we've got up here. And when he's available, he'll give a ride, but we do not offer this ride all the time. And if anybody wants to bring a child up for a ride, they need to call the museum. We're listed under Tooele City. Okay. And that's Tooele Railroad Museum. So before they come up, they should call. And we're open from Memorial Day to Labor Day. Okay. And what are your hours? 1 to 4, and we're here from Tuesday till Saturday. Tuesday to Saturday, 1 to 4. Thank you for your time. Thank you for letting us come speak with you. Well, thank you for letting people know about us. And I hope they do come up and visit. And we've got ladies here that can tell them about the history, so they might enjoy it. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Again, this is Jean Mogus, and we've learned a lot today. So if you want to come over to this museum, there's a whole lot here that you can see. And again, I'm Tyler Egan with TooeleTV. Thank you.